part of a family. So I quite don't understand why there is this attitude, this pretense that, you know, working life and family life are separate. They're not. There's no way they can be separate. You know, if someone's unhappy in their work environment because things are going off at home, you have that interchange. So many times, I mean, I went into work at one of my other businesses yesterday, and I just looked at the face of one of my staff members, and I could see that she was unhappy, and it was her grandson was unwell. So, you know, we discussed, okay, what the targets are for the day and how she can be able to go off and support the family. And it's just little things like that that make a huge difference. And I think to make sure that we don't give the impression that this is only for women, we must create policies that are available to everybody, whether they're male, female, whether they're old or young, so that we are changing the overall culture in business to how we deal with supporting the family. So also I want to look at how we can create a family-friendly enterprise just where we are, and I've pulled up some points there. I would say there are bound to be a lot more. So employing the best person for the job, as I've said, creating a more flexible working practices in terms of times. I know some organisations steer away from the 9 to 5 concept. That may not work for some businesses, but for some, they have a start time of maybe 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and then they have a finish time of 6 or 7 o'clock. And then you have a core period that people must be in work unless there's something happening. So you can look at your business and think, okay, would this work for me? I know that my customers need me at a certain time, but that's your core time. And then people work flexibly within that. You look at changing the work time, as I said, job sharing. So you have a full-time role, but that's shared between 2 people. And whether that's shared strictly 2.5 days, or it's shared, you know, 3 and 2 days, or, you know, however that works out, as long as your business is getting what you need in terms of coverage. Part-time working, emergency leaving. We know that if we have families, you know, there are always things that can happen. I was talking to someone earlier on, and he was saying, well, I take my wife to work in the morning, because I was teasing him because we had made some appointments, and sometimes he wasn't there, so I was saying, you know, I begin to think you don't love me anymore, you know, you're not there. He said, no, I've got to take my wife to work. That's a brilliant working arrangement where it is not only the female that benefits, but the man that benefits as well, and they can look after their family. Emergencies, children get sick, parents get sick. You know, if we have older parents, we need to look after them. And yes, the business has to function. So no one is asking that you just look after the employees and the business suffers. No, you sit down and talk about what works best for the business and how we can make that work in terms of the teams that we have working together. And also, we look and see what policies are already in place across Europe and already in place in your country, and how you as a small business owner can begin to use those within your business. I think one of the biggest issues that I find in business is that the owners know sometimes what policies are out there, but they don't want to share that with their staff, because they think their staff might ask to have flexible working or emergency leave and those sorts of things, because they're more looking at what it might cost them. But I think paying that cost will benefit in terms of loyalty and commitment and those sorts of things. So let me quickly look at some of the resistance that I've heard people talk about, especially smaller businesses. They'll say, well, it's going to cost too much to make changes. It's going to cost too much to allow people to have time off. And we're too small an organisation to bring in something like that. Well, our customers will object. And this is an interesting one where you have businesses that see their service or the products they produce as male focused. They think, oh, to have a woman in this position, our customers might not like that. And I think it turns out to be the opposite. Because men do like to interact with women. Because women, we bring a different perspective. I mean, it's been proven time and again that organisations that have joint male-female makeup in their teams, and particularly on their boards, are actually a lot more profitable than those that don't. So we need a balance of both. So some think that their staff may object. So if this is benefiting staff, how would they object? Some think they may lose customer or business. That boils down to money. Some think it might require too much effort to change. Some people just don't see how. It's the know-how. How do we actually do this? How do we make it happen? They're always thinking, we can't employ someone around a certain age because they'll go off and have a baby. I'm waiting for people to tell me how you do that just on your own as a woman. It takes two the last time I checked. But hey, you know. So why don't they not employ men of a certain age? Okay, we'll think about that. You know, the cost of maternity and paternity, and I'm glad that the law is changing to allow men time as well, because it took two to make that bundle of joy, and it needs to take 2, 3, 4, the rest of your family to help look after it for the rest of its life. So it's good to see that we're moving forward in that area of commitment. There's some businesses that think, oh, it's not necessary. My team are working okay, they don't need that. Well, have you discussed it with your team? You know, how much do you know about their family life, their home life, their social life? So there may be things going on that impact on their ability to work effectively that they've not told you about. And that may be because they may not think that you're interested in hearing. So to look at family-friendly enterprises, we need to start talking to our staff and asking questions. Talking to your staff and asking questions will open that door to say, I'm actually interested in what you have to say. And then we can work from there. If we can put up the other slide, thank you. I might not be able to see that very clearly, but I was having a think about who would be affected if, as an organisation, as a group of organisations, we were to really focus on and commit to bringing in family-friendly policies. And I started out the 3 main circles as you can see, the father, the mother, and the enterprise. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, well, the economy would benefit. Because the more people that are working, the more money circulating around the economy, you know, the standard of living for the community goes up, okay? The expectations of the family, you know, I love to wax lyrical about my family because they're so fantastic. I'm sure you all say that about yours. I have 3 wonderful girls, a husband who's a saint. I shall send a letter to somebody to make him a saint, because I could not do any of the things that I do without him. But us working, going out there, sets an example to our family, to our girls, about what their expectations can be in life. We set the standard for what the generations behind us will think possible. So other businesses will benefit from us taking that opportunity and trying something new and sharing that information. The country benefits. If we're producing more, we're buying what we produce, we're buying services, you know, the economy is going to liven up. And we can do that. We can affect that. So every decision we make in our little micro business has a huge impact on the rest of the world. Have you ever seen yourself in that light? That is your position. Your decision making affects everybody else, positively or negatively, but we go for the positive. Yeah? But most of all, your business benefits because, can we just go back, can we? Oh, yeah, the bottom line there was most of all you and your business benefits. Because that's what we're in business to make money, but we can't do it all by ourselves, otherwise we'd all be rich by now and living on some exotic island somewhere. We need to work with other people. So, okay. So, let's look at some of the benefits. Okay, so the employer benefits by being able to offer more. In terms of if you have good family friendly policies, you can offer that. A lot of people think that it's only about money. It's not. There are people looking for a lot more benefits out there. In some situations, it has been proven that people are sometimes prepared to take a lower salary to get some of the other life benefits. So you have a lot more to offer. If you can say to your new recruits or possible recruits, we do this, we have flexible working, we have such and such. That will make your company, your business stand out. Okay. So you can become a preferred employee. People want to work with you, and you're able to keep those members of your staff that you value. Okay, your employees benefit through being less stressed. When we're stressed, we don't perform as well, we don't think as clearly. So although we come to work, we may not achieve as much in that time because we're busy worrying about our children that are not well, our parents that are not well, or other things. But if we know we've got an employer who cares about our needs and supports them, then when we are there, we will be certainly more committed to what we're doing. Your employees will be happier. They'll perform better, as I've said. They'll be more committed, more loyal to your company and to you. They'll stay with the company longer. Every time someone leaves, that costs you more because you have to recruit again and you have to retrain that person. And until someone's trained up at least 6 months into the job, they're not really performing to their best because they're learning so much. So if you can be flexible and work with the employees that you have to keep them longer, you benefit, your company benefits. Higher levels of motivation and reduced training costs. Okay. So happier employers, less stress. I think I've gone through some of those. They perform better and enjoy their work more committed. They stay with the company. High levels of motivation and commitment. They feel valued as employees, and they provide greater levels of innovation and creativity. And innovation and creativity are the things that happen only when, this has been scientifically proven, only when people are happy in their jobs. You can employ someone to be creative, but if they're worried and stressed about their lives at home and other things, that creativity does not kick in. It only kicks in when they're comfortable in their jobs. I will hold on with the pioneer thing in a second. One of the things I also want to point out is that in the UK, we've shown that girls consistently leave school with higher grades than their male counterparts. So going back to who the best person is, well, the facts show that the best person is a girl. I know, I've said it. So we need to really think about how we can make sure we get the best people to work for us. I've got there the element of a pioneer. I tend to always go back to the dictionary if I've got a word in my head and I'm looking about something. So what I find there, a pioneer is a person who is usually among the first to do something. They are people who develop or the first to apply a particular strategy or method or thinking or activity. And a pioneer is a pathfinder, initiator or a trailblazer. I like trailblazers very much. I like pioneers. I like those people who break ground and move forward. Now, there are companies out there who have very good family-friendly policies. So we may not be the absolute first, but I think in terms of your business, in terms of your sector, you certainly can be a trailblazer in terms of looking at your business and changing, creating policy, but also sharing that information with other small micro businesses and helping them to learn from what you've achieved and working together. And that, to me, is what I would like to leave here with. I think if you're going to be here on this earth, you should be here and you should make a positive difference. I'm all about making a positive impact. And I'd like to infect you with that, with that concept right now. What I'd like us to leave here with is a group of people, it doesn't have to be huge, but a group of people that said, you know what, I'm a small business owner. I'd like to, number one, relook at what I do in terms of my business around FFEs. I'd like to share that. I'd like to work with other FFEs, organisations, or those who want to be, to come up with some best practice and to find ways of propagating that across Europe. Let's think big. Why just in Malta? Why just in the UK? You know, why just, you know, if we look at how we can employ people, people don't have to be in work every single day. You know, they can use the computers, and it's been wonderful to Skype with Malta and you know, other people to put this together. You know, there are so many different ways that we can create opportunities for people to be employed, but they don't have to be there. Yes, it does depend on the job, that is true. But let's think of some other flexible ways that we can build our business, we can create greater employment, and then we can also work and share that with each other. Because I'm sure there are things that you have thought of that I haven't. So why not get together, work together, 19.3 million micro businesses across Europe. Why don't we work on, I see an army of change sort of moving forward to bring about something that will you know, push our economies forward. If we think about it, Europe has to compete with the rest of the world, so we need to think differently. We need to create more discussion, and we need to bring about a positive change. And I have no doubt in my mind that whether or not we can do that. I know we can do that. So I hope that some of you think that you'd want to get on board with that, and I certainly look forward to working through that. So I hope that my musing has sort of been helpful to sort of look at what FFEs are, and what we can do and how we can make a difference. So again, I've put up what it is. There's that there. What we can do. We need to look at our business and make a change. We need to bridge the gap between family and life at work. And we need to create beneficial businesses to make that happen. So we're looking for leaders who want to work with us and push this agenda forward. It starts with each of us. It doesn't always just start with the government, it starts with us. We are the government, in fact. We can influence. So any pioneers in here?
Well, actually, we did start something up in my
Good.
firm.
Okay, good. Okay, so we need to hear about that.
Well, first of all, I think you've hit on so many points. My business is not a small business. I consider myself to be medium-sized because we employ close to 100 people. And 60 out of the 94 are women. Across the board, young, middle-aged women. Most, of course, are childbearing age, and they're brilliant. And we do not employ them because they are women. We employ them because they are extremely good at what they do. I manage my firm. I have worked all my life. I have qualified when I was 24 years old, and I have never stopped working. And I have 2 boys, one is 22 and one is 18. And being a woman is a non-issue. And I you know, I go back to what Marlene said. We need to believe that being a woman is a non-issue. If we, as women, are going to start off our life and career saying, oh dear, we're women, forget it. It simply isn't going to work. And I go back to what Marlene said in terms of encouraging our young people at school. I would like to go a step back. I would like to encourage our kids from when they're newborn that male and female is not an issue, which is the environment I was brought up in. But in terms of pioneering, because we have 60 out of 90 employees who are women, most of whom are childbearing age, what I did 5 years ago was I formulated a policy whereby our professionals can come, or well, those who are both lawyers and those who support, it's just women in the organization, can actually bring their children to work with them. We bought a premises next door, and the very idea of a working mother in management, because of course there's things we need to catch up on later in terms of what age are you when you are in management. So I mean, the crucial age for women to have this backup is possibly prior to them being in a managerial position, because management tends to come with a mature age where you've reared your kids and they're at school. But we'll talk about that later. However, this pioneering element within our organisation we are extremely proud of, because we're probably the first organisation in Malta at this type of size anyway, where we encourage mothers to bring their kids with them, and that has meant so many things. That has meant that when you are a mother and you go to work, the number one issue is, you know, should I be going to work? Should I be staying at home to look after your kids?
Yes.
The fact that you can put your children in the car with you to go to work, it's no different to going out for an outing on a day. It removes the psychological trauma, number one. And number two, we have realized that these working mums who are now no longer very young, because we find that most women are getting married and having children much later on, so they're halfway up the ladder, they're not even taking all their maternity leave, because they want to get back at their place of work, they want to continue with their clientele, they don't want to lose their clients, so they're not even taking up all of their maternity leave. So as soon as they have their babies, it's lovely. We've got this place, and we've got babies who are 1 month old.
Brilliant.
So I strongly recommend it.
That's fantastic. Very good. The thing I think that's so good, and it's good to hear about that. Smaller businesses may think, well, we can't afford to do that. We're not in a position to do that yet. And my point is that there are still lots of things that you can do as smaller businesses without having to do that at this stage. That's one of the first things people think of, oh, we'll have to have a creche. And when you can afford to do that, I think that's spot on, you should. But there are simple time flexibilities, other things that you can put into your contract, into your working relationships and agreements as a small business, which will make your business one that will appeal to the best out there as well. So thank you so much for sharing.